All right, so I've heard some good stuff there. So like I said, if somebody says, we just want to wait to list, you'll say, I can appreciate how you feel, just so I understand why do you want to do that? Well, we're just thinking maybe it'll be a little better for us in the spring. And then you just go and continue with the dialogue. I see, is that the only thing holding you back right now? Is that you're just thinking it might be better then? Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, if I could show you that by waiting, it might cost you. There's a few things that I can share with you. Would you still do it, or could I show you something? And they say, sure, go ahead. And so you take out the cost of waiting. Cost of waiting, you'll notice, comes up a number of times. It is one of the most powerful tools you'll ever use. And if you've been on appointments where they said they want to wait in the last 6 weeks, because we're in less than 6, and you haven't used the cost of waiting that I talked about in less than 2, either you forgot, or maybe you chose to think maybe it's another way I wanted to do things, but I can assure you that if you put this into your arsenal, that every time somebody says they want to wait, you say, I appreciate how you feel, just so I understand what you're thinking on that, and then you isolate it, and then you say, here, let me show you something that might make a difference, or you get their permission by saying, if I could show you, would you like to see it? And they say, yeah, and you take this out, and you just have a conversation. You'll notice that even if you don't do it totally right, but they become aware of what might happen, that they might look at you and say, or actually most of the time they will say, oh wow, no, we can't wait that long. Like, we can't wait till spring to lose money. We can't wait till next fall to hope the market turns around, because we have to be gone by June, or, you know what I mean? But again, if there are people that say, you know, if the market doesn't go up by next spring, we'll just stay in the house for 2 years. Then you say, okay, I understand, it's no problem. But let me show you the forecast anyways. And you guys are gonna check out your forecast, yes?
Yes.
And it's probably gonna be what we heard already. A year to a year and a half of continuing down, but interest rates going up. So it's not good for people to buy or sell right now, and it won't be for a while. But there are people that are buying and selling no matter what, because they want to buy a house or they have to sell. So we need to be there to help them, yes?
Yes.
And it's not like we're turning the tap off for real estate and all of us are handing in our licenses and we're going to go do plumbing or something for a year and a half. There's still going to be sales, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, so that first part, like I said, in sales you don't have to prove the future, you just need to show them what might happen. So just have them participate, like I said, in the process. Ask them, like I said, 1 through 10, right? What they think, and then get them to enter the amounts, and then see what the total is. Just remember, we are consultants, so it's best to let them decide. It's easier on us too, would you agree? So back on here, it said also reposition. So number 2 and 3, if you want to make a note for E7 and E8, we don't need to take them out right now, I'll just comment on them. That's when we have a property that should be repositioned, but they keep on saying we want to wait. You know, we already have a listing. Or maybe they want to list, but they keep on saying let's wait. But the repositioning is this, you know, like the selling the competition is interesting. And if your home is priced higher than the neighbor's house, so if you have a listing and somebody else puts something on the market, and it's a comparable home, let's say, if your price is just a little bit higher than the other one, it'll help sell this one. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a listing, or if you have to reposition a property, you're better off to list it or reposition it just under the other one if they're comparable homes. Does that make sense? Then that one will help to sell yours. And that's the way people are. They go look at 2 houses that are fairly similar, and one's a little less, what are they going to do? I mean, I'm saying, if all things are equal, just for argument's sake, they're going to take the one that's less, yes?
Yeah.
In fact, even if they're not equal, they'll justify why they're okay with a bad deck just so they can pay $10,000 less. And yet the deck may cost them 15 grand. That's just the way people are. I don't know. Like, you know. So just remember that. Choice is this. You want to let them know that there's, or I would like to show you 2 lists, you'll say. One is the sold list, and the other one is a list of, that's a list of successful sales. And there's also the expired list, which is a list of unsuccessful sales. And ask them, which list would you rather be on? The sales or the expired? What do you think they'll say?
Sales.
Okay, so you're going to bring some sales with you when you're on a listing appointment, or when you go on an appointment to reposition the property. You're going to bring the sales in the area, and you're going to bring some of the expireds. And you're going to let them know that they've never heard of an expired list. Isn't that weird? Like all of us in real estate think they know everything we know. They don't know anything close to what we know. They have no clue. And you'll notice that when you say, you know, there's actually 2 lists of where properties end up. One is on a sold list. That's a list of successful sales. And another one is the expired list. A list of, they may have heard of the word expired, but they don't really get it that their home may not sell. They think they can put it on the market at any price and it'll sell in 4 days, even if the market's going down. Because they have this special house. They believe the house is worth more than it really is. They have the heavy-duty nails. They have gold toilets. They have everything. You know, so don't fool yourself. They just can't imagine it not selling. They think it's easy. They think you just put a sign on the front lawn and wait for the phone to ring and just, we don't do nothing. They don't understand. So you say an expired list is a list of people that tried to sell their place and were unsuccessful. They couldn't move forward with their plans. So which list would you want to be on? So if you want to be on the sold list, then let's go back to the pricing, right? Or if you want to wait to price it right, let's understand that interest rates are going down and house values might drop, or interest rates are going up, house values will go down, and you have a conversation. Does that make sense? Okay. So the next one was, people want to look before we list. That's on right now, right? Yeah. People want to look before they list. So we have the buyer conversion from E11, so you can switch, and you don't have to put, if you're a seller, you don't have to put away your binder right now. You can still wait until I tell you to, but if that, like, you already were the realtor, right? So you don't have to pull this out. He has to, okay? I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second, so don't go there just yet. So whoever's going to be the realtor will get that page out. Ideally, it's best if you tear it out, just so you know, because it's going to take a bit for them to work it out. We're going to talk about the Field Felt Found and the Ben Franklin close, okay? So, there's a cha-ching. Cha-ching. So you'll say, you got to remember where you're at. Every time you role play, you have to understand you've already done 5 steps. And everything makes sense. And you say, like everything is being confirmed already, every step. And then you say, do you have any questions? Well, we're just thinking we might want to go look before we list. And what's the first thing you say?
Appreciate how you feel.
Pardon?
I can appreciate how you feel.
I can appreciate how I feel. So, the reason you want to tear it out of your book is so maybe you can have your dialogue sitting there so you never forget to say it, right? And plus you got to hand it over to the other person. So, get ready. Have your dialogue ready. Have your buyer, you have to pull hard and fast, otherwise you'll rip the whole. There you go. Okay. And you're the realtor, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So all the realtors should tear it out. And then go to your dialogue, which was a couple pages previous. And all of the sellers, just fold up your book. And realtors, hand over your critique page right now to them as well. And remember, you're going to have to hand over that page to them. So if you didn't tear it out of your book, it's going to get very awkward. All right, gang? Okay. So let me show you how to do it. Sounds good?
That worked way better.
Can I show you how to do it? Yes? Everybody's paying attention?
Yeah.
All right. So we just want to wait, or we just want to go look before we list. Okay? I can appreciate how you feel. Just so I understand, why are you thinking that might be best for you, or why do you want to do that? Well, we just don't want to, be homeless. In other words, we'd like to see what's out there so we're confident or comfortable before we list. And you say, okay. And then you ask them, is that the only thing holding them back? And they go, yeah. So you're okay with, when we list, to price it at this price, and you're okay with everything? Yeah. Okay, well, if I could show you that by doing it in reverse, do you hear the words? If I could show you that by doing it in reverse, that you might lose some money, would you still do it? Well, no, of course not. Well, here, let me show you something that might make a difference. Everybody watch up here, because I'm trying to show you how to do it. Okay, don't look at your books. Pay attention here. So let's pretend that, and you hand this over to them. And they go, well, that looks interesting. Yeah, well, let me explain it here. So we already know that your place is 400, right? Arbeth?
Yeah.
And what's your wife's name?
Diksha.
Diksha, she's over there somewhere. There she is. And so we already established that. And now you want to wait to list so we can go find you. And you were upsizing to about 650. And that's just a different scenario than we did a week or two ago. But this is what we're doing right now. Okay, and you'll role play this. So let's pretend that we go out, we look at a few houses, you pick this one here, and mentally, and you guys, if you can't remember to say this, you better write it down somewhere, but you're going to say, mentally you started moving into it. You just love it. Mentally you started moving in, so you don't want to lose it. And now you've asked me to write an offer for you. So if there's no other offers on the place, it's listed at $650, it's a new listing, and it looks like it's priced right compared to the other properties we've seen, you know, what would you like to write the offer at? What would you like to start at, right? Don't say, I don't like saying the word start at, because then it seems like everybody needs room to negotiate. Just say, what would you like to offer? And they might say, what? 6 what? 30, okay? So you say, so what you're trying to do is, let me see if I understand it. You want me to write an offer, tell the sellers that you want them to come down in price 20 grand, but also wait until you sell your house, right? This is how you're gonna role play this. And they'll go, yeah. You say, okay, just for a moment, I'd like you to put yourself in the shoes of the seller, where they just went through a listing appointment with a realtor who got them to list it at a reasonable price. And it just hit the market. And somebody comes in and says, we haven't sold our house yet, but we'd give you $20,000 less than you want if you'll just wait until we sell our house. How would you respond? What do you think? What do you think? How would you respond if you were them? Any idea how you would respond?
Probably say no.
I'd say no. Go sell your place and then come back and see me. So you're going to let them know. Remember this stat I told you about? 7 out of 10, according to NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, 7 out of 10 will reject your offer straight out. So just either write it down or make sure you remember it, because that is a very important stat. 3 out of 10 will probably work with you, but they will not accept your offer. They will counter your offer. Isn't that right? They'll say, we want full price, and we'll wait until you sell your place. But we might get other offers. So we want to change the counter offer a little bit. Okay, so what do they want first? They want full price. And then they counter the offer by making sure that the people's property is already on the what? Yeah, so here's your opportunity to say to them, if we go and look and write an offer and we go to give it to them, 7 out of 10 will reject us. 3 out of 10 will counter, but they'll want to know if our home's on the market. They'll only counter if it is on the market, or they'll counter with a term. I hope you all get this. A term saying that our home has to be on the market within 5 days. So we should put it on the market now anyways. So I want you to close Ching that way. Like this is the first close to Ching. There's another one after. But you say we may as well put it on the market because they're going to ask. The 3 out of 10 are still going to ask, aren't they? They're going to put it as a term. And look at this. They're going to want to know what?
Right amount.
They're going to want to know what? Everyone look at that screen?
Yes.
Right.
Dollar amount.
They're going to want to know if it's priced right. So they're going to want to know if it's on the market, and if it is, they're going to want the MLS number for their realtor to double check before they tie up their property. Okay, and then they're going to also add a what? Clause. Could be a 24-hour clause, could be a 48-hour clause, or it could be a 72-hour clause. Probably a 24-hour clause. Between you and me, gang, don't ever do it in reverse. Ever. You will just be so heartbroken at times, I'm telling you. Back on this here. So the 3 out of 10, they're going to counter at full price. Then they're going to make sure that yours is on the market. They're going to want to see to make sure that their realtor can confirm it's priced right. Then they're going to add a clause saying that we're still going to market our home in case somebody else wants to bring an offer. And that offer will, when we've agreed on a price with them, we will give you a notice that you have 24 hours to remove all the conditions. Make sure you understand that as well. Fair enough? And if you don't remove all the conditions within 24 hours, gang, what do you think happens? Their deal falls apart. And the other deal goes into effect. Everybody's aware of that? Yes. So the newer people, there might be some new stuff here. But you're at the free event, you may have heard it once already. So the question is this. If you do it in reverse, and you're going to lose the opportunity to negotiate some of that 20 grand, you might have saved 5 grand if your house was sold. You know, so there's some money, but there's also some risks here. and you feel pressure, and you go back after they counter, and you accept it, you think, I gotta get this house sold quick, because I don't wanna lose that one. So then you gotta make sure you as a realtor do not tell the seller that they have to do something with their price. And don't tell them they have to reduce their price, and don't tell them that they have to reduce it 20,000. You have to say to them, if you want to get a quick sale, what do you have to do with the price? And get them to say it. This is your biggest part of the role play, is to get the seller to say all this stuff. Is to get them to say it, not you say it. So even if you have to really be creative, I don't want you to say, you can say little stats like 7 out of 10 will reject, 3 out of 10 will counter. But if you were the seller and you got an offer, 20 grand less, and to wait till they sell their house, what would you do? And I want them to say, oh, yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't want to work with them, but if I did, I'd want full price. So sellers, make sure that you're playing along, okay? And we're not done yet. So you say, okay, so if you want to get a quicker sale for your place, what do you have to do to your price? Wait for them to say it.
Reduce.
Reduce, and then how much? 20,000. Then you say, and you remember, they're going to write this on your sheet. They're going to write it on your sheet, all right? And you're going to say, so we're lining ourselves up to lose about 40 grand, or at least a portion, like the better part of 40 grand. It's kind of like we're doing it backwards. I think we're going backwards here. Even if we're only halfway and you lost 20 grand, would you like that?
No.
No, so let's do this, I don't mind. Let's put your home on the market. Let's get you a really good offer. And once the conditions are removed, we'll go start looking. And on the offer, we can put that we want a longer possession date. But I know we're gonna line up the dates for you. I know that we'll find your place. In fact, if I have to door knock, make calls, whatever it takes. And like I said, who's the best realtor in town? So would you be proactive for your clients? If you sold their house, would you make them go homeless? Or would you do whatever it took to find them a house? Second of all, don't tell them this, between you and me, when you sell their place, the number one way to motivate a buyer is to sell their house. They aren't as picky. If you do it in reverse, you want to see picky people? Holy cow, man. You will be looking for so long, you're just ruining your career, to be honest, right? But remember the dominoes effect. So don't forget to say this as well, the dominoes effect. And that is where don't say this to the sellers, but between you and me, I need you to feel this so that it's easy for you to explain that other stuff. And that is typically if they accept if your clients accepted an offer subject to the sale, or let's say it's subject to the sale of their house, sure enough, the offer they get is subject to the sale of another house. And guess what happens if one deal falls apart and another one falls apart and it all falls apart and Mr. and Mrs. Seller are really disappointed that they lost the place? You know who they blame. Who do they blame? The realtor, right? They won't tell you, but they do. They blame the realtor. And the way they say it is this, you know, Dwayne, my wife is really disappointed. I mean, we're just heartbroken that we lost the house. So listen, let's just put everything to rest for a minute. Let's just put it on pause. Give us a couple weeks just to kind of, you know, we were so excited and so looking forward to this. We're just really disappointed. And I can tell you right now, they'll never talk to you again. And if somebody ever asks them, how good is this realtor you used before, they'll never have anything good to say about you. And the problem is, about 1 out of 5 times doing it in reverse actually works. And then realtors keep doing it. But 4 out of 5 times it doesn't work and everything falls apart and you actually lose it, okay? So I want you to role play that.